Dear learners, I welcome you all to this online teaching session. Today, in instrumentation of HPLC, we will learn about column oven, guard column, and analytical column. On completion of this lecture, you will be able to explain need of temperature regulation for HPLC analysis, describe features of HPLC column oven, explain need of guard column, describe features of guard column, and explain various types of HPLC analytical columns. First, we will discuss about column oven. Why temperature regulation is required during HPLC analysis. If the column temperature is increased, the chromatographic process becomes faster. For reverse phase isochromatic separation predicts a retention time decrease of 1 to 2% for each 1 degree centigrade column temperature rise or increase. Selectivities can be inverted for co-eluting sample by small variation of column oven temperature. So, in short, column temperature is regulated because it gives us reproducible result, because every time the temperature will be fixed and at that temperature we will set our column oven. So column will be equilibrated at that particular temperature, and irrespective of atmospheric temperature or room temperature of your study or your experiment, your analysis will be performed at that constant temperature, and hence you will be getting reproducible result, because now your column is contained in column oven which is set at particular temperature. And another important uh, advantage of column oven temperature is that if you increase the column oven temperature, the chromatographic separation process become faster. Also, there will be 1 to 2% decrease in retention time if you increase the temperature by 1 degree centigrade. And also, you can achieve better selectivity for co-eluting sample if you do small variation in column oven or column temperature. Means if you have co-eluting sample, means co-elution means if two components are there and their retention time is almost nearby, or if they are not resolved properly. So if you change the temperature of your column oven, then there are chances that these co-eluting samples get resolved or they get separated. This is the pictures for column oven. This is external column oven, means if you don't have column oven inbuilt in your HPLC system, you can buy appropriate column oven which is compatible to your HPLC and you can externally join to your system. So this is external column oven. You can see it is a small chamber, and this chamber is thermostatically temperature control, where you have to place your column. So at particular temperature your analysis or your separation will take place. And this is inbuilt column oven. You can see the temperature is there which is set in the picture, and this is inside this there will be a compartment where you can place your column, and this column oven is inbuilt in your HPLC system. Now what are the features of column oven? Your column oven can provide temperature range from 5 degree centigrade to to 70 degree centigrade, maximum 18 degree below ambient temperature. This is just example. If you want to work at below 5 degree, those type of column oven is also they are also available. You have to purchase right column oven depending upon your requirement. So column oven temperature can range from 5 degree centigrade to 70 degree centigrade. Temperature accuracy of plus or minus 0.5 degree centigrade can be achieved. Temperature is stable as by plus or minus 0.1 degree centigrade. The precision of the temperature can be plus or minus 0.1 degree centigrade, and column oven can accommodate 4 columns of having maximum length 30 centimeter. Now what is guard column? A guard column is a protective column. As the name suggests, guard column. So it is protective column or cartridge installed between injector and analytical column. So guard column will be between injector and analytical column, means it will be before main column. Analytical column is main column where actual separation takes place. It serves to remove the impurity and suspended solid from reaching the analytical column. So analytical column will trap any impurity if your mobile phase or your sample contains, and the impurity will be trapped by your guard column. So it will not allow impurity to reach analytical column. Typically, it has a length of 2 centimeter and internal diameter of 4.6 millimeter. The internal diameter of guard column will be same as that of the your analytical column. Means you have to choose guard column internal diameter depending upon the internal diameter of your main column or analytical column. But the guard columns are relatively very small in size. Analytical column can range from 50 millimeter, 75 millimeter, 150 millimeter, 250 millimeter, 300 millimeter. But so here the guard column is only 2 centimeter. Guard columns are packed with pellicular particles of around 40 micrometer size to offer negligible pressure drop. One more important thing about packing of guard column is that the particle size of the guard column is relatively high as compared to that of the analytical column. In analytical column, we use 3 micron particle, 5 micron particle or 10 micron particle based on our requirement. But here in guard column, the particle size is 40 micrometer. So the particle size of analytical column will be of same type, but the difference will be the size. Size will be relatively high, because so that there should not be any pressure generation from this guard column, and the goal of the or the main objective of this guard column is that it should trap the impurity to increase the shelf life of your analytical column. So with the help of guard column, we can trap the impurity, so shelf life of analytical column can be increased. Guard column are mainly useful when you do for some herbal research or herbal related experiments, or when you go for some pharmacokinetic study or plasma. So plasma contains many material or components, so there is a requirement of guard column. But if you want to use guard column for simple analytical procedures or experiments, that also will be good, because The ultimate goal or ultimate objective of using guard column is that if any impurity is there in your mobile phase or in your sample, that can be trapped by guard column, so they will not reach or they will not enter the analytical column, so you can increase the shelf life of analytical column. The cost of guard column is relatively less as compared to analytical column. You can see as per this picture, this is guard cartridge system for a traditional analytical system. Here from the injector you have a cartridge, and these two are holder for cartridge, and there is a coupler. Now coupler which is connecting or uh, which is connecting your guard cartridge or guard column to the analytical column, and now this analytical column will be connected to detector. So as we discussed in our as per our previous slide, that guard column is placed between injector and main analytical column. So this is the guard column. There will be a cartridge or filter. You can see the size. It is very or comparatively small as compared to analytical column, and you require coupler so that you can connect the guard column to that of the analytical column. Now, what are the desirable features of any guard column? Guard column should have preferably same packing as that of the analytical column to eliminate separation complications. So, if you are using C18 column, so guard column should also have a similar type of packing. So, to eliminate separation complications, you have to select guard column depending upon packing of your analytical column. Internal ID of the guard column should be comparable to that of the analytical column to minimize back pressure. So ideally the internal diameter of the guard column should be matching, or it should be similar to that of the internal diameter of analytical column. Shorter guard column length is preferable, but it should be long enough to prevent strongly retained compound from reaching the main column. As I told you that the length of guard column is comparatively less as compared to analytical column, but it should be sufficiently long so that it can retain the impurity or strongly retain particle. Frit facing the injector should be removable for clearing by removal of about 2 mm of material and filling with fresh material. So, frit facing the injector should be removable. Disposable cartridge type guard columns are convenient and economical to use compared to refillable guard column. So guard columns are of two types, refillable and disposable. So it is better to go for disposable cartridge once you have to use and then you have to throw it. While in case of refillable guard column, once the guard column requires refilling, so you have to go for refilling. Now coming to HPLC column, that is analytical column, column dimensions and column packing. So first about column, we will see that what are the general dimensions which are preferred in analytical column and what kind of packing is there in analytical column. So in HPLC column, we will discuss about column dimension, means length, internal diameter, and column packing, means what is there inside the column. Column is the heart of HPLC where actual separation takes place. These are the different images of column having different length and internal diameter. Now let us discuss about types of HPLC column. Silica gel is filled in HPLC columns because of its particle size and porosity that helps in separation of components, and silica gel is also inert material that does not react with mobile phase. So silica gel is commonly used as a HPLC packing because it allows separation of components because of its particle size and porosity, and it is inert material, does not react with mobile phase. The material filled in HPLC column is known as stationary phase. Depending upon type of stationary phase, the columns can be classified as normal phase columns, reverse phase columns, ion exchange columns, size exclusion columns, and chiral columns. Let us see one by one different types of column. Normal phase columns are more polar with respect to stationary phase as compared to mobile phase. So in normal phase column, there will be a polar stationary phase, and mobile phase will be relatively non-polar. The packing material of the column should be more polar than mobile phase, and this condition is sufficiently fulfilled by silica because it is polar material. But water is more polar than silica, therefore water is never used in normal phase HPLC, and the solvents which are used are methylene chloride, hexane, chloroform, or mixture of these solvents with diethyl ether. Separation of sample components occurs on the basis of polarity of sample components. Means depending upon polarity of sample, the separation takes place. Sample components having more polarity interact more with polar stationary phase, resulting in separation from the less polar components that interact with less polar mobile phase. Means here in normal phase columns, the stationary phase is polar and mobile phase is relatively polar, and separation is based on a polarity of components which are to be separated. So components of the sample which are more polar, they will interact more with the polar stationary phase, while non-polar components will interact with non-polar mobile phase. Silica columns are widely used in pharmaceutical analysis. The chromatography in which normal phase columns are used is known as normal phase chromatography. Now, in case of reverse phase columns, the stationary phase is non-polar, relatively non-polar, and mobile phase is relatively polar. Bonded hydrocarbons like C8, C18 and phenyl and other non-polar hydrocarbons are used as a stationary phase in reverse phase column, and aqueous organic solutions like water, methanol, water acetonitrile mixture is used as a mobile phase. So in reverse phase HPLC columns where the stationary phase will be relatively non-polar, in that case we have to use relatively polar mobile phase. Separation of sample components in reverse phase columns also occurs on the basis of polarity of sample component, but it is opposite of that of the normal phase columns. So in reverse phase HPLC column, the non-polar component of the sample now will more interact with the non-polar stationary phase. This type of chromatography where the reverse phase HPLC columns are used is known as reverse phase chromatography. Now this slide depicts different normal phases and reverse phases. You can see here is this is amino group which is attached to silica gel backbone. So this is also normal example of normal phase. Cyano group attached to silica gel backbone. So cyano group or column with cyano group is also type of normal phase. Diol group, diol, 2 OH group which are attached to silica gel backbone, and so diol columns are also example of normal phases. While in case of reverse phases, you can see here this is 4 carbon attached to silica gel backbone. So C4 group is relatively non-polar. It is not that much non-polar as like C8 and C18, but if you compare with these above polar stationary phases, this C4 group or C4 column is example of reverse phase. This is C8 group, so octyl group attached to silica backbone, so it is example of reverse phase. And this is C18 group attached to silica backbone, so C18 octadecyl group attached to silica gel backbone is example of reverse phase stationary phase. Now ion exchange column, the compounds those can easily ionize are analyzed using these columns. So ion exchange columns are used for separation of ionizable sample. Stationary phase in these columns remains acidic or basic having negative or positive charge, while mobile phase is polar liquid as a salt solution in water. So stationary phase can be cation exchanger or anionic exchanger, and the mobile phase will be buffer. Separation of molecule occurs on the basis of attractive ionic force between molecules and the charged stationary phase. Due to the exchange of ions during the separation of sample component, this type of chromatography is known as ion exchange chromatography. Different cationic exchanger groups are there, for example sulfhydryl group, then carboxylic acid group, then these are the cationic exchanger, while anionic exchanger examples are quaternary ammonium compound, polyamines. So these are the most popular groups which are used as a ion exchange in the ion exchange columns. This slide depicts the type of stationary phase used for ion exchange chromatography. So you have a fixed ion. So this core will be made up of fixed ion, and there will be a counter ion. So counter ion will be attached to fixed ion. So this is anion exchanger where counter ion is negatively charged, and this here the fixed ion is negatively charged and counter ion is positively charged. So this is cationic exchanger. Next is size exclusion HPLC columns. Porous stationary phase in these columns allow the separation of components according to size. So here in size exclusion HPLC column, the separation will be based on size, and stationary phase will be porous in nature. Combination of polymers like polysaccharides and silica is used as a stationary phase in these columns. Small sample molecules penetrate in the pores of stationary phase, while large molecules penetrate partially into the pores. Therefore, the large molecule of the sample elute first with the mobile phase, then the small molecule, and this chromatography is known as size exclusion chromatography. These columns are generally not used in the analysis of pharmaceutical products or pharmaceutical compounds. Though this slide depicts how the separation occurs in size exclusion chromatography. So you can see here this is the size exclusion column with porous packing, and the pore will be uniform throughout the stationary phase of this column. So when sample is loaded, so what happens, the sample contains different size molecules. These are the bigger molecules, these are the smaller molecules. There will be some molecules having intermediate uh, size. So what happens with the bigger molecules? As the chromatographic run progresses, the bigger molecule are too big to fit into the pore size of stationary phase. So they will elute out with the mobile phase. So they will give us a first peak, and the smaller molecules which can very well penetrate in the pores of stationary phase, they will have long path, so they will elute later. So this pic depicts the elution pattern of small size components present in the sample. Last type of last type of HPLC column is a chiral HPLC column. A chiral HPLC column is an HPLC column that is packed with chiral stationary phase. So here the stationary phase will be chiral. So now what is the advantage of this chiral column? So chiral columns are useful for separation of enantiomers. Enantiomers cannot be separated by simple columns or reverse phase columns or any other columns. You need specialized columns for that, and chiral columns will solve the or will serve the purpose. So for enantiomers separation, the chiral columns are required. Enantiomers are separated based on the number and type of each interaction that occurs during their exposure to chiral stationary phase. So basically one enantiomer will interact differently with the chiral stationary phase, and another other enantiomer will interact differently with the chiral stationary phase, and in this way the separation of enantiomer takes place. So this is all about column oven, requirement of temperature regulation, importance of guard column in HPLC analysis, and different types of analytical column. So thank you for patiently listening and have a good day.